How are you doing today?
I am very well. Thank you for having me, and I'm honored to share this experience with you and all your listeners.
Thank you very much actually for accepting these invitations. It means big time, like huge for me, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to spread the awareness about self-love in the people. I've seen people take care about other a lot and don't put a lot of time to manage their feeling, their emotions. So today what I want to talk about, because I know that you are a expert for women working for or working for building a business and having a job, a full-time parent, and they're trying to build their business. So I want to talk about what advice you would give to those people. But I would like to start with the introduction, that you introduce yourself, that what it is you do, and so people knows that what they are getting out of it now. So can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Keri Faith Knudtson, and I am a mindset, business, and lifestyle coach. And I help first year, or aspiring entrepreneurs build their courage, confidence, and consistency, and helping transform those self doubts into self belief, producing positive results with positive energy.
Beautiful, really beautiful. So, okay, why why do you think that women in this industry who are trying to build a business, that they need to focus on self-love? What, because I have seen in my life as well, and because we are not talking about men, so I won't give my example, but I have seen people and women especially, like especially this is a nature of women, and I think our creator made you like that you care about other first, right? And
Yes.
yes, so sometimes women forget this aspect even though they are working on a business. How important it is and why it is important for women to understand this, that self love is important.
Well, I think that we are a product of how much love that not only that we give out, but that we give ourselves. And at times, the creator created us as nurturing beings,
Yeah,
and at times that draws us away from nurturing our own needs, wants, and desires and dreams. And so that's why I really love supporting women building their businesses, because at some point, we're giving, and we're helping other people, like our children or our employees, if you're a manager, or other family members, um, go towards and build their dreams. But at some point, we have to take a step back and realize, are we fulfilling our own wants, needs, and desires and dreams? Because I have studied happiness and subjective well-being in my college and university studies. The true meaning of happiness, I believe, and research supports, is having a deeper understanding and meaning of life, and having a deep significance, and
oh,
not
believe that, yeah.
going out to buy, the shoes, or um, going out for a great meal. That is fun, but really at the root of it is finding the deep meaning. So to um, support energy towards your own love is very important to finding that deeper meaning of life.
Yeah, the way I look at it as happiness and fulfillment is the same way like you described. Those moments can be momentarily, you can feel good in those moments, but the way I look at it is like this, that of course you were not going to be happy all the time. I always give the example to people, like you have a child, so you always will love that child, doesn't matter what happens, but you might not like your child all the time. He can be noisy or she can be noisy for you, so at that moment maybe you do not like the child, but you always love, right? And that's what happiness and fulfillment mean. Overall your life is fulfilled, but there is moments in your life when you are happy or you are not happy. So what we are trying to achieve is with through self-love that we achieve those happiness moment more than the sad moment, and your life become fulfilled. So yeah, I love the idea. Thank you very much for sharing it. So where do women start? Like how to start on this journey when they are trying to build a business? They are very busy with their job or family and household works, and they have to take care of so many things. How to start? What are the simple few things they can do to at least recognize that I am moving forward towards a journey within?
So I did not start my journey towards entrepreneurship and achieving my goals and my dreams until I, one, decided that I was going to put myself as a priority in my own desires and dreams as um, number one, but also it wasn't until I set up systems in my own life. I was working, in jobs and careers, and the most successful businesses have standard operating procedures, right? And
Yes,
we forget that in order to function and thrive not only as a business but as a human being, we need those standard operating procedures in our life.
love
So
it. As an
what I
engineer, I love it.
what I learned in the corporate world was missing in, my personal life. So once I realized I need to have structure in my life, I need to set that goal, and then I need to break it down and reverse engineer it,
Mhm.
schedule it, have non-negotiables, just like those SOPs in your business or in the corporate world. You must follow them. Otherwise, you're not going to produce the results that
Yeah,
you wish
yeah,
for and desire.
yeah.
That's where the positive results come from. So it really is setting up standard operating procedures. Mine started with running a half marathon, and I had to start running because one, I experienced a lifetime of anxiety and depression. So it wasn't until I had my first child and my second child, I realized I couldn't be just suffering that depressive moments and those anxious moments, because it wasn't allowing me to be the best mother that I could be for my children. And I knew that my children deserved a high functioning, supportive mother. So I needed to exercise. So exercise is really one of them. And I started with setting a goal that I was going to run 13 miles in a race. And I scheduled it at least 3 or 4 times a week. And I would write down the specific number of miles that I was going to run on each of those days. And
Okay.
I asked for help with my kids. So I always think there's a who, what, when, where, and how to those procedures that or those goals. So I probably made it more complicated than I needed to answer your question, but for me, the standard was I'm going to achieve running a half marathon.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're trying to say, because what we need to do is that we have to look all area of our life. It's not just health, it's about what you eat. It's about that momentarily choice you make. If it is based on love, I believe nobody will eat a burger. I really believe that. If you are really conscious and you really love yourself, I believe you won't drink like a bottle of wine or a or cigarette or things like that, because you understand what it is doing to you, and you understand I do not deserve it. I deserve better. So I understand your point, like, but it can be done only way you are describing. That you need to understand what you want, and then you have to follow through. Well, I love the idea. Yeah. So what about conflicts? When conflict happens in the life, especially for those women, what we are talking about, that they are trying to build a business and they have a family to run and they need to manage themselves. basically going to self-love mode. So what about conflict? When conflict happens, when they need to give time, their time to other person, to their partner, to their children, to the office. How do you suggest to handle that time?
Well, conflict is always going to arrive, and it's how you view conflict. So, the perspective of what conflict looks like and how you can not necessarily absorb the conflict as an adversity, but allow it to learn and grow from that conflict. Let's say, I mean, conflict is a generic term more or less, but it's more like some people in the business world call it a squirrel.
Okay.
Whatever it is, it's something that is getting in way of getting to the finish line, right?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
have
Obstacles. Yeah.
obstacles. So you have, let's say, your pre-scheduled day,
Hmm.
and hour by hour, as busy working women or mothers or parents,
Hmm.
we schedule our day, like I said
Yeah.
before, um, very strategically. But you have to be open that things aren't always going to go the way they are. And to go back to self love, it's that acceptance. It's coming back to your inner self and realizing, is this going to allow me to not get to the final destination, which is maybe
Okay.
acceptance and love? Because I feel like the true definition of love is acceptance. So when we as humans can 100% accept ourselves for all the strengths and all the weaknesses,
Mhm.
unless you are judgment free of how you are and how you show up in your day, amongst conflict or obstacle or adversity,
Mhm.
um, that's how and where and when you want to let it be
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
realize it was probably meant to be, and the plan has to evolve just like humans have to evolve.
Yes. I have one more question here. The way I understand why people lack this ability to love themselves, I think it comes from how you bring up, how what kind of environment you live in, how your parents or people around you treated you, and how your partner treated you. I think it comes from that perspective. And on on this journey somewhere you forget that we are important because you are always being told, take care of others, do this for others, do this for your brother, for your sister, for your mother, or whatever it is. Every culture have its own way of doing this. So I think this is the main cause of why people don't understand this, that I am important.
Yes,
What do you think it is? It's my understanding. What's your understanding about why it's happened to the people, especially the women?
it is something that was implanted in us, fed to us from a very young age, that we don't remember, and we don't place a value on ourselves.
Mhm.
Whether, and everyone is limited to this, I believe.
Yeah.
Even if you have all the confidence and all the courage in the world, I still think there are limiting beliefs around self love and acceptance. And it can be something so small. Like, I have identified where and when it was in my own childhood,
Okay.
that I devalued myself as a human being. So
Okay.
I was a very, or this is from my parents' perspective, and
Okay.
beliefs and our value is built before we're 5 to 7 years old. I mean, there's some age range around there, and most of us don't remember that much
Yeah.
before 5 years old. I mean, it varies, right? And that's where our whole system is, our barometer of love comes from. So it can be such even a small remark from maybe a teacher, maybe a parent, maybe a caretaker, a babysitter could have said something like, "You're so annoying," or something we don't remember. Like for me, I was told I was a very, very difficult child. I'm going to be raw and honest here. And I was a baby that had a huge voice that couldn't verbalize my thoughts, feelings, and emotions, right? So I was very loud. I screamed and screamed, and I was a late talker. But throughout that time, I don't think I probably started talking around 2 or 3, right? But throughout that time, I gave my parents I was a pain in the ass, right? Sorry for my apparently, and that's how my parents viewed me, and that's great. They didn't know any better, but to then complain about how I was very difficult and how babysitters didn't want to come back to babysit me.
Okay.
And at that time, I believe I built this belief system that people didn't want to be around me, or that I wasn't good enough, or that um, I was a difficult human being.
Okay.
And all of that builds up, and then it comes out in strange, weird ways as we move through life and as we move through adulthood. So our value is very much contingent on how valued we felt as a child. And even if you get unconditional love as a child, there are still things that we might just pick up
Yes.
off of out of nowhere that really just stuck with us. But the funny thing is, it doesn't serve us as adults, right?
Yes.
And what we were told, that we were difficult in one moment, doesn't mean that we should have difficulty throughout the rest of our lives. But
Okay.
it
Exactly.
sticks. And so the whole idea about subconscious reprogramming and coaching is identifying maybe that area or something that could have hypothetically happened, or identifying where it did happen, and then sweeping it out and eliminating it, because that just
Okay.
needs to go, because it's not contributing to self-love in the present. Self-love is energy that we create from the inside
Yes, that's
in the
true.
current moment.
Oh,
So
that's so beautiful. So beautiful. I really like it. So, is it is it very important that people should understand where it's coming from, or they can just leave the past behind and start working on what I need to improve now? Like, for example, for me, in my case, I don't remember anything about my past. I can only remember maybe when since I was 20, not even 10, 15. I don't remember before since I was 20. So maybe I remember little one or two things, but not very much. So the way I look at it is I don't care what happened. What I need to do now is important. But some people who remember all those things, they struggle with that as well. So do you think it's important for especially for women that we need to identify that and how coaching can help them to understand?
well, it's a good concept, and it's two parts, because it's surprising that you don't remember that much. I don't remember that much before I was 10. And this can work for us and it can work against us. And there's one part of the idea that being in the present moment and creating and looking to the future is really what I train people to do, is not look back, but just look forward, because looking back will only bring us down, and looking forward will only bring us forward. So
But how
part
do
of it,
you resolve the issues which were in the past? You need to resolve them sometime.
at some point, you those people that can just look ahead, they're going to just go ahead. But most people, they look ahead, but then their action, behaviors, and habits are counterintuitive to what they're visualizing and creating in the future.
Okay.
So that's why it's a two part. It's looking ahead, visualizing, and being the productive business person, or having the abundant mindset or whatever you're focusing on in the future that you're creating, like an author or a speaker or a business woman or man.
Yeah.
You want to focus forward thinking, but at the same time, if your actions, behaviors, and habits are not supporting that, then there is something that has to be identified and eliminated.
Okay.
So it is a two-part, and that's what I work with people in my programs: connect, create, transform. So connecting within, creating the habits, the daily habits, and the structure in your life,
Okay.
and then transforming. But at some point, most of us have a few things that show up in that
Yeah. Yeah.
visualizing of the future. So it's finding harmony and being present in the moment,
Mhm.
looking forward to creating what you want to create.
Yeah.
And then if there are things that are not serving us,
Mhm.
usually beliefs, limiting beliefs, then you look back and then eliminate.
So nice. So nice. I think I think you have given more than I was thinking that you will you will. So I thank you very much for that. I'm really pleased. I have one more question then, and I think it will be last. I won't take your time because I know you are very busy. Sorry. What people will get out of it, like if I'm really sorry.
Bless you.
Yeah. What what people will get out of it, like if they really start to work, what kind of change they can expect in their life, emotionally, physically.
Well, we are as humans unlimited and limited to what we desire. So, if you want to change your physical state,
Mhm.
if you want to change your emotional state or your, I say it as a spiritual psyche, metaphysical state, whatever you or one desires,
Mhm.
you will create. So the question was, repeat the question again so I can be very specific in
Yeah,
the
so the
answer.
question was like, what kind of changes in their life they can expect if they start to follow this thing about loving themselves? What kind of change they can expect? Like, because most people don't know why they should do it. So if you can give a good picture, like, okay, this would happen, I think that can inspire them to take actions towards that. That's what I'm trying to understand here.
So it is about transforming. Do you want to transform your physical state? Do you want to transform your emotional state? Or do you want to transform your business? You must identify and be intentional with the self love. If you want to, for me, it's more, and my clients, it's more creating the business of your ideal dreams. But
Okay.
a lot of people, the self love is healthier physical state.
Okay.
And the root of it is that we are at mercy of our desires and our doubts.
Yeah.
So the idea is to have your desire outweigh your doubt, because we all have doubts, and that is where we're kind of limited to our past. But
Yeah.
the desire has to be stronger than the doubt. And you need to have a clear definition of what you want to create. That's why the connect, create, transform is that you have to be clear about it. Otherwise, you're going to be searching in every direction and not have a straight line
Yeah.
what you're going to create.
Yeah.
And that's why help having guidance to
Yeah.
get to that final destination and having a clear path and having support and having the value within. And that's where we come back to love. Do you 100% have the self love where you're going to value that desire? Because you can have the desire, but if you don't feel like that's validated or
Okay.
that you don't have value to create the desire, then that's where the path is going to be unclear, and it's going to have blocks.
Yeah.
So self love is at the root of anything and everything that we want
Mm.
on the other side of our fear. So if we are limited to our desires and our doubts, and we're unlimited to the potential that we can create with our minds.
Oh, so beautiful. I really love it. I think I have to ask you now where people can find you after that wisdom you have given them and they want more help from you, where they can find you.
I have a website. It is my name. It's kerifaith.com, Keri Faith. It is my first name and my middle name.
Okay.
On Instagram, I'm at Keri Faith in the positive, and you can find me on Facebook.
Okay, so I will put the link in the description definitely for the people. One last question. What you want to leave in the world? What legacy you want to leave in the world?
Ooh, my legacy is that I desire to create is through inspiration, but it is for everyone to have faith within themselves, and that's why my business is my name. I want people to know that they always always carry faith in themselves, that they can achieve more, do more, and live a happier and healthier life. So my legacy that I am in the process of creating and leaving is one of faith and belief in anything and everything is possible.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you for talking to me. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you
And
for
I
having
really, really enjoyed it.
me.
Thank
It's
you.
been
Thank you very
a
much.
real pleasure. I love your mission and your vision. And the more that we can share our love and our knowledge and our experiences, the ripple effect that we will have be part of the positive paradigm shift in the world.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming over. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.